Hi, fourth grade. Today we are going to talk about how weathered rock pieces move from place to place. Up until this point, you have learned about what is soil, what is it made up of, what is weathering. We discussed physical and chemical weathering. We've also talked about how weathering helps contribute to the development and creation of soils by having smaller rock pieces, pebbles, silt, sand, which is all broken down rock. So today we are going to talk about weathered rock pieces moving from place to place. Make sure you have your science notebook and a pencil. At the top of your science notebook, I want you to write our new focus question. So FQ, focus question. How do weathered rock pieces move from one place to another? And I want you to make your hypothesis. How do you think these things move? One way that geologists investigate the movement of earth materials is to develop and study models. A model is a representation of something in the real world. Many of you might have already heard of models before. You might have made a model of a car or a model of a little airplane, but a model is a representation of something that's happening in the world, but it's not exactly the same. For example, if you make a model of a car, you're not going to build one the size of a real car. It's a representation of what it could be like. Well, we are doing that same thing, and I am going to show you something called a stream table. And in this model, a stream table is a model of a piece of land, and the model is made up of two soil types, sand and clay. Let me show you what I mean. Okay, I'm now sitting at the area where I've set up a stream table. And the stream table consists of a large black tray that looks like this, and it has a hole. I don't know if you can see that. It has a hole down at the bottom of it to represent what would happen in the event of rain, just a regular standard rain. Now, the dirt that I've composed, or the soil that I've composed, is made up of two different things. Two different sized particles. This is the sand. It's fine sand, like what you might see on a beach, but do you see how it's pieces? It's pieces, and it doesn't leave a powdery film on my fingers. This is really fine, really fine. This is called silt, if you can remember from what soil is composed of. This is made up of silt, and silt is very fine. It's like talcum powder. That is how soft it has been. So this is rock that has been ground down and ground down and ground down and ground down into a fine powder. So in order to set up my stream table, I have already prepared a bag of soil with sand and silt. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna put it in the end of our stream table. And this is going to represent maybe like the bank of a river. The bank of a river, the side of a mountain, even maybe a hill or some kind of sand in your backyard, some kind of dirt in your backyard. And this is what it looks like. Now, eventually, tomorrow, we're going to talk about what happens to the earth when it's been exposed to water. What happens to earth when it's exposed to water? Sometimes we can have a regular rain, but for example, we just had a Hurricane Sally, and that is tremendous rain, much more than just a nice rainstorm. So what is the difference, and what happens to land when it has been affected by water? I can't wait to show you the rest of the investigation tomorrow.